Bore da pawb, dwi'n falch o gael y cyfle i recordio megis hon wrth i chi ddod at eich gilydd ar gyfer y Cynhadledd gofal plant a'r blynyddoedd cynnar. I am so pleased to have been asked to record this short message for you as you all come together for this Early Years and Childcare Conference. I want to say thank you to Social Care Wales for organising this event and bringing you all together. This gives me the opportunity to extend my own personal thanks to each and every one of you for your work, commitment and resilience over the past 2 years. The pandemic has been a very challenging time for each and every one of us, and certainly a period of many uncertainties and changes for all of you working in the early years childcare and play sector. Recent months, with the advent of the COVID-19 Omicron variant, have proved more challenging still, with significant impacts on staffing numbers. The fact that outbreaks at childcare settings have been relatively low throughout the pandemic is testament to the effective protective measures you have worked so hard to implement. With the spring and summer now before us, we will hopefully see the situation continue to improve. Although I do not underestimate the impact the pandemic has had on all of our dedicated early years childcare and play professionals and the vital services you provide. I recognise for many of you the pandemic did not bring a stop to the services you have provided. You've been key in enabling the NHS to respond to this international health crisis. Your role has been essential in providing invaluable services to the children of NHS frontline staff and others whose work, like yours, did not end. You've all worked tirelessly to ensure that our children have continued to have access to high-quality learning opportunities, providing strong foundations for their future. You have risen to the many challenges, showing remarkable commitment and resilience, reassuring parents by continuing to focus on providing high-quality care, but also providing much-needed structure and routine for the children you look after during a time of unprecedented turbulence in their young lives. As a government, we committed to providing support to help the childcare sector continue to operate during these challenging times. We have provided funding, advice and dedicated guidance, and we will continue to do so. We have provided over £8.5 million in additional funding to local authorities so that they could support childcare providers in their local areas. This funding will help ensure you can keep on operating as you seek to recover from the economic impact that COVID-19 has had on your operations, as well as supporting you to adapt to meet the needs of families in the future. We have also provided £5 million to support play provision across Wales in response to the pandemic and increased the level of funding available through our small capital grants. Some of you may also have taken part in activities funded through our Summer of Fun and Winter of Wellbeing. Those activities have been so important for supporting children's recovery from the events of the past 2 years. But even as we look to a life beyond the pandemic, We know more needs to be done, and we continue to explore how we can support you and your settings. We want to secure the ongoing sustainability of the childcare, play and early years sector in Wales. We have recently extended the 100% business rates relief for all registered childcare settings for another 3 years, and that's up to 2025. We are pressing ahead with changes to the national minimum standards, which will hopefully help all childcare and play settings. We're also continuing to invest in training, opportunities through our EU-funded Progress for Success programme. We continue to look at ways to attract and retain more people into this critical sector. I think the theme of this conference, well-being and resilience, is very fitting. You have all done so much in such difficult circumstances, and it is important that you're able to take some time out to support your own well-being. But I also want to encourage you to take time out to reflect on the incredible role that you play. Not only in supporting the economy to prosper and thrive, but the role you have with the children of Wales, the lives that you are touching and the futures you are changing through your care and work. Today's conference provides a real opportunity to come together, to learn from one another, to share ideas and to hear from speakers who I'm sure you will enjoy. It's also a time to recognise and celebrate what you have achieved in immensely difficult circumstances. Importantly, today provides space to pause, reflect and consider your needs, your own mental health and well-being, as well as the mental health and well-being of the individuals you work with. I know that this conference theme and workshops are aimed at helping you do this for yourselves, for colleagues, and indeed the children you work with. I gloi, hoffwn ni ddiolch eto am bopeth rydych chi yn wneud I gefnogi plant, pobl ifanc a'r teuluoedd yng Nghymru. Gobeithio y byddwch chi yn mwynhau eich diwrnod. Diolch yn fawr. I just want to finish by thanking you all once again for everything that you do to support children, young people and their families in Wales. I do hope that you enjoy your day. Thank you. Diolch.